Born into poverty in 1878 in Gori, Georgia, Joseph Stalin's early life was far from promising. His father, a cobbler, and his mother, a housemaid, lived in the harsh reality of a serfdom society. Young Stalin, originally named Iosif Vissarionis Dzhugashvili, was acquainted with struggle and hardship from his earliest years. His family's financial strife did not deter him from education, however. In fact, it was at the Gori Church School, and later at the Tiflis Theological Seminary, where the seeds of his revolutionary ideas began to sprout. But his radical views did not sit well with the seminary's administration. They expelled him, severing his path to priesthood. Yet this setback did not deter him. Rather, it fueled his resolve and marked the beginning of his path toward revolution. His expulsion from seminary marked the beginning of a journey that would change the course of history. In the chaos of the Russian Revolution, Stalin found his calling. Amidst the upheaval and disarray, the young revolutionary from Georgia saw an opportunity to ascend. As the Bolsheviks seized power, Stalin's role within the party was not one of immediate prominence, but don't mistake that for insignificance. He was a master of the shadows, working behind the scenes, methodically climbing the ranks of the party. Stalin was not a man of grand speeches or charismatic charm. Instead, he was a tactician, a man of action. His role in the Bolshevik Party was largely administrative, but it was this very position that allowed him to meticulously build a base of loyal supporters. His cunning and ruthlessness made him an invaluable asset to the party, and soon enough he caught the eye of the man at the top, Vladimir Lenin. Under Lenin's leadership, Stalin's rise was meteoric. He was appointed to the Central Committee, then the Politburo, and eventually he held the position of the party's general secretary. It was a role that gave him immense power, control over appointments, and the ability to shape the party in his image. But Stalin's ambition knew no bounds. Lenin's death in 1924 opened the floodgates for a power struggle within the party. Stalin, with his network of allies and his ruthless ambition, outmaneuvered his rivals, consolidating his power and eventually emerging as Lenin's successor. His path to power was not without bloodshed as he purged the party of those who dared to oppose him. Stalin's ascent to power was not just a testament to his ruthless ambition, it was a masterclass in political maneuvering. It was a journey that transformed a seminary dropout from Georgia into the undisputed leader of a superpower. But this ascent was not without its costs. It set the stage for a reign of terror, a period that would forever scar the pages of history. Stalin's ascent to power was a testament to his ruthless ambition, and it set the stage for a reign of terror. With Stalin at the helm, the Soviet Union was about to enter its darkest era. This chapter of history is stained with the blood of those who fell victim to Stalin's ruthless purges. As he consolidated his power, no one was safe from his paranoid suspicions, not even his closest allies. The Great Purge, as it came to be known, saw countless party members, military officers, and innocent civilians accused of treason and either executed or sent to the gulags, the infamous labor camps. But the reign of terror didn't stop at political purges. Stalin's obsession with transforming the Soviet Union into an industrial powerhouse led to the forced collectivization of agriculture. This policy, which required peasants to give up their lands and join state-owned farms, resulted in widespread resistance and ultimately a catastrophic famine. Known as the Great Famine, it claimed millions of lives, with Ukraine bearing the brunt of the disaster. Stalin's iron fist extended to every corner of Soviet life. The arts and sciences were stifled under his rule, forced to serve the propaganda machine. Religion was suppressed, churches were destroyed, and a cult of personality was built around Stalin himself. The Soviet people lived in constant fear, never knowing when they might be accused of disloyalty and whisked away in the dead of night. Yet despite the brutality of his rule, Stalin managed to maintain a facade of progress and strength, even as his people suffered. He presented the Soviet Union to the world as a successful socialist state, a beacon for workers everywhere, even as he crushed any dissent at home. Stalin's reign of terror left an indelible mark on the Soviet Union, shaping its history and its people. His legacy is a stark reminder of the human cost of absolute power, a chilling testament to the horrors that can unfold when one man's ambition is unchecked. Despite his reign of terror, Stalin emerged as a key figure in the fight against the Nazi war machine. As the world found itself embroiled in the Second World War, the Soviet Union, under Stalin's leadership, played a crucial role in the war's outcome. Stalin's initial pact with Hitler shocked the world, but the alliance was short-lived. When Hitler broke the pact and invaded the Soviet Union in 1941, Stalin was forced to join the Allies. His leadership during this time was unyielding and relentless, matching the brutality of the war itself. Under his command, the Red Army fought fiercely, pushing back against the Axis powers. Despite the immense loss of life, the Soviet Union's contribution to the Allied victory cannot be disputed. The Battle of Stalingrad, a grueling 5-month siege, became a turning point in the war. The Soviet Union's resistance and eventual victory there marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. Yet, even as the war ended, Stalin's grip on power did not wane. He used the post-war vacuum to further extend the Soviet influence, establishing communist regimes across Eastern Europe. This marked the beginning of the Cold War era, a time of ideological conflict and political tension between the Soviet Union and the Western Bloc. Stalin's leadership during the Second World War, his strategic decisions, and the Soviet Union's immense sacrifice are integral parts of his legacy. Yet they are also entwined with the brutality of his regime, the millions of lives lost not just in the war but also in his purges and forced labor camps. Stalin's role in World War II remains a controversial part of his legacy, a testament to his ability to wield power and influence on a global scale. It serves as a stark reminder of the complexities of history, where heroes and villains are often not as clear-cut as they seem. In his final years, Stalin's paranoia reached new heights, culminating in his death in 1953. The once formidable leader of the Soviet Union found himself increasingly consumed by suspicion and fear. His health, both physical and mental, spiraled into decline. Even as he held the reins of an ironclad regime, the man behind the Iron Curtain was unraveling. Stalin's paranoia wasn't unfounded. His reign of terror had created a myriad of enemies, both real and imagined. As he grew older, his fear of betrayal intensified. He saw enemies lurking in every shadow, traitors in every corner of his empire. His final years were not marked by the confident rule of a powerful leader, but by the desperate grasping of a man losing control. In the early hours of March 5, 1953, Joseph Stalin passed away. His death sent shockwaves throughout the Soviet Union and the world. The man who had been a symbol of power and fear was no more. The iron fist that had held the Soviet Union in its grip for over 3 decades had been stilled. The immediate aftermath of Stalin's death was a period of uncertainty and turmoil. The power vacuum left by his demise led to a fierce struggle for control among his potential successors. The Soviet Union, and indeed the world, held its breath as the fate of an empire hung in the balance. Stalin's death marked more than just the end of a man's life. It was the end of an era of ruthless rule, of fear and oppression, of monumental changes that reshaped the Soviet Union and left an indelible mark on the world. With Stalin's death, an era ended, but the legacy of his rule continues to reverberate through history, a stark reminder of the power of a single individual. His story is a potent testament to the complex interplay of power, ambition, and fear. It serves as a chilling reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink, and the heights it can reach when one person wields unchallenged power.